You don't know where he's
First of all, hello, my name is James Worley.
After the murder of Sierah Joughin, people have always asked, did James Worley kill or harm other women? He served time for kidnapping Robin Gardner in 1990, and we've been working for years to find out whether there were other victims in the 26 years since he attacked her and then killed Sierah. But this story tonight is not about Sierah. Worley began writing to me a few months ago. It turns out his own writing led me to another potential victim, Claudia Tinsley, someone we didn't know about, and her family had no clue about James Worley until we told them. It's a WTOL 11 exclusive.
He admitted being with her.
Sissy, you know, she was my big sister, you know, and it's like I was just her little brother, you know, and I mean, we always had a close relationship.
It was September 8th, 1996. James Worley was 37, a convicted kidnapper back on the streets. Claudia Sissy Tinsley, 24 years old, working the same avenues of North Toledo.
And you know, my mom was always just saying that, you know, it's just the things she's doing is getting worse, and it's going to basically catch up to her.
Their paths would cross and end in Claudia's disappearance. The sister, daughter, mother of 3, gone forever.
He said he had picked her up somewhere around the Summit Cherry area after a festival. She got in the car, they made several stops, they drove around for a little while.
Worley details their meeting in a 105-page report he sent me in April. He says Claudia's case is when police began harassing him, leading up to what he calls a frame job for Sierah Joughin's murder in 2016. I visited Worley on death row to ask him myself.
You met Claudia when you were leaving the German-American Festival.
Yes.
And you picked her up. She took you home to meet her mother?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not to meet her. We went several places, and along the way of stopping at in front of, like along the curb, and she'd get out or they'd walk up to the car. She talked to her friends and so forth, and eventually we ended up going over to her mom's home, and I said, what should I do? And she said, well, come on in. And so I went in with her, and her mom's there, and there were some kids there, and maybe a couple other adults. And we were there for, I would think, no more than 10 minutes or so, and we left. And it was at that point in time, as you read in my one, that the mother, wrote down my license plate number. And that's how I got involved in this whole thing.
I don't know if my sister had told her that she had a bad feeling, or it was just my mom had a bad feeling. But, you know, she pretty much begged her not to get in the car, not to go. And, you know, she just watched her get in the car, drive off, and that was the last thing she had in her mind was her leaving. And she just had a feeling she's never going to see her again.
It sounds like it wasn't typical at all, that she just had some sort of suspicion. Her mother did ask her, you know, don't go with this guy. Maybe she gave it to her mom just, you know, to try to calm her mind. They were able to talk to a witness who saw Worley and Claudia together.
So when's the last time that you saw Claudia?
That was the only time.
When was the last, so you guys went off to have oral sex after her mom's house?
Yes.
Okay, and then you dropped her off?
And that was it.
And you don't remember where you dropped her off?
No.
And did you remember a few days later when they had questioned you about where?
They didn't get hold of me until approximately, I would say, within a week or 10 days. Yeah. The detective Dumas called me, and he asked if I was willing to talk with him. I said, sure. He said that they were looking for her, and I said, well, why? What has she done? And he said, well, her mother is worried about her. She hasn't seen her. And so I went down and I spoke with Dumas, and while I was there, he told me, he said, this isn't the first time this has happened with Claudia.
Right. But did you drive the blue Chevy that was described, and did you have a blue Chevy that she was last seen in? at the time?
I know that my new car that I bought during the first 3 years that I had it spent over a year in the shop because I kept breaking down. And the dealership was giving me cars to drive while I was in the shop. And I want to say that it was a blue car, but I'm not sure if it was a Chevy or not.
It was this blue 1995 Chevy Beretta Worley was driving on September 8th. With the same license plate number Claudia Tinsley asked her mother to write down.
The investigators followed up with that plate, found out it came back to a leasing company, and that leasing company gave them the person it was rented to, and that was James Worley.
So is James Worley the last person seen with Claudia Tinsley?
Yes. He is the last person we know of that's seen her.
And you were the last person to see her alive.
Now, who said that?
Well, her missing persons report says that she was last seen getting into a blue Chevy.
That was the mother jotted down my license plate number.
And she was never seen again.
According to
the
mother.
Police.
According to the mother.
What stood out about him that makes him so prominent in these files?
We were able to verify the fact that he did drive around with her, which would be a little unusual if you're simply going to engage a prostitute. He was with her probably 40 minutes, making several trips. Seems a little unusual to me that if you're simply out for sex, that you're going to drive around with this person, making different stops throughout the North End. It's not common. It wouldn't be regular. It seemed like he was more interested than just a sexual encounter.
Worley was questioned, the car tested, but there was no sign of Claudia. The case dried up until the year 2000, when Worley was again brought in for questioning. This time, police had a surprise for him.
I never even really, after a while, even thought about her until detectives were at my door 4 years later.
With the assistance of Fulton County, they were preparing to do a search warrant at his residence.
Detectives scoured Worley's property in Fulton County for Claudia. It's the same place he would kill Sierah Joughin 16 years later.
You know, it was a possibility. They had never explored the possibility that he may have taken her out there. So I think at that point they thought, well, we probably should have considered it, and let's do that.
They found nothing connecting Worley to Claudia. They did find some marijuana plants he was growing, and Worley served another 2 years for that. 22 more years have come and gone. Never enough evidence to charge Worley for Claudia's disappearance, and with no body or witnesses, there may never be.
You know, it would take somebody that this person has talked to and told them that, hey, this is what I've done, and we don't have that yet.
Claudia Tinsley's mom died of cancer in 2018 without finding her daughter.
I think in her mind she knew that she was never going to come home, and we probably were never going to find her.
And Claudia would have turned 50 years old just a few days ago.
I really think that maybe if they would have found her alive or something, it would have been a turning point. Maybe it would scared her straight, but she never got that chance.
I do want to mention investigators have asked to see the letters and the manifesto that Worley sent us, as well as that interview, and we are willing to share that information as they continue that investigation. And with her family's blessing, I questioned James Worley extensively about Sierah Joughin and other women as well. Here's a portion of that.
But what are the chances? Remember, we talked about
Melissa.
Just let me have this, because if we do post this, people will have these exact questions. So I just want to pose those to you, because these are the questions that the people that you want to question it will have. So we talked about what are the chances that people will say that.
This sounds
just a second.
more like a casino. What are the chances? What are the chances?
No, I'm just saying, don't you think it's a little unusual to ask someone to believe that your helmet fell off? Someone, a killer of all people, came down the county road,
Well, how did
found
those?
a victim, hit her with it, and then another guy came by
Now, Melissa,
and found the
you-
helmet, and that this kidnapping would be so similar to one that you were convicted of 30 years
Now,
ago.
hang
That's
on.
another
Hang on
crazy
a second.
similarity.
It is not even close to what happened in 1990. Okay, and you're taking me down
Well,
a
two
rabbit
girls were
hole.
on bicycles that were knocked off their bicycles and then restrained.
Was he comes off in this piece composed. I mean, was he?
Not so much. I think that he fully expected, and I kind of went along with his idea that we were going to go there to talk about his manifesto. And really, I had organized questions with Sierra's family that they wanted answered. And then once I saw that piece in his papers about Claudia Tinsley, I knew for a fact that I was going to ask about those other women.
Yeah, and then when you walk away from this, I mean, there were things that we talked about when we did something online, and I said, why you? Why you of all people?
It's surprising because I am very involved with the Justice for Sierra organization. I can't answer that question. I don't know, but I know that he called the interview horrific and he was not happy with it. But really the story is all about the victims, and we have some pictures of them right now, of Sierah Joughin, Robin Gardner, and a potential victim, Claudia Tinsley. We'll be right back.